Hello, my name is Katie and I am 1/3 of the Davenlaw pack, and today is my day to bring you guys videos. So I've decided to discuss something that I'm very passionate about, which is books, specifically the third installment in the Twisted Tale series by Liz Braswell, As Old as Time. This book is based off of Beauty and the Beast, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book last year, which is when it came out, 2017, and I was intrigued by how well it fit with the original storyline. So the story takes place in France, obviously, and Belle, discovers that her father has been kidnapped by the Beast, so she goes and takes his place. And all of the original story is still in the book, but what's different is the book discusses Maurice and Belle's mother Rosalind, who Belle finds out is the enchantress that places the spell on the Beast in the first place. And I love that it goes into the whole background of how Belle's mother put the story on, why, all of the different characters that they knew, because a lot of them obviously are still alive, and Belle knows. She doesn't know anything about her mother because her mother Rosalind has put a curse on the land so that no one remembers anything about Les Charmantes, which is the term they used in this book for magical folk, which I think is really nice that it's French colloquialisms and it's not in English. I think that's a very nice touch to add. I love the whole background into the asylum, which is run by Frederick Dark, who knew Rosalind and Maurice when they were younger. And I love that it goes into detail about his character and how he himself was a Les Charmantes. He describes himself as tainted, and he believes that he along with all of the Charmantes are wrong, that he wants to get rid of the magical power of them, which is why he kidnaps them all, and basically he takes part of their brain out. He takes the part that he believes is the magical part out of their brain, and he tortures them. And it's actually really striking to read that in a book, but also refreshing because it's a completely different side to the Beauty and the Beast storyline, which so many people are familiar with. Another thing I really love about this book is that Belle and Adam, they don't fall in love at a dance. They don't fall in love within like a few minutes of the story. I like that in this book they only confess their love at the very end of the movie, but they don't get married, and the Beast doesn't become human at that point. Even though Belle has broken the spell and has ensured that he won't become a full-blown beast, he is still in beast form. And I like that twist on it because it leaves the end of the book as more of like the end of the beginning of their story rather than the end of their story, like in most of the others where they get married and everyone just assumes that's it, that's everything they do. I like that this says that at the end of the book they're going to go and find a cure for the Beast. They're going to find more of these enchanted folk to help break his spell, which to me is just a really nice ending. It's ambiguous. It leaves a lot to the imagination, which is something I like in books because I believe that reading helps develop your imagination and your creativity in your brain, and it helps just make you a more imaginative person in all aspects of that. I think that's one of the reasons why I like this book. It's different and it allows you to use your imagination. So it doesn't immediately at the beginning tell you how Rosalind puts the spell on the Beast. It's up to you to just think about that until it gets to that point in the book, and then when it's revealed you can tell how well it all works and how well it all fits with the story and how it's all pieced together. It's really, really well written, and I've always loved Liz Braswell's books. ever since I read Once Upon a Dream, I think her style of writing is so intriguing, and I love the way that this book goes back and forth, and I think Once Upon a Dream does that as well. It goes back and forth between one side of the story and the other, which is just a nice touch to it. I love the fact that the history behind the story in this version, it's different. Like, the original story, the 1992, I think, or 1991, I'm not sure when the movie came out, but the original movie doesn't go into much about Belle's mother, and I like that this book does, because it's something I've always been intrigued by, something I've always wanted to know about, and I think it's a really good touch on the storyline that's already there. It's not as if Liz Braswell's completely changed the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. She hasn't. She has just twisted it into her own way to give a version that's different, if that makes sense. So the basis of this storyline is completely there. The basis is exactly the same. Some of the sayings in it are exactly the same. The Beast still yells at Belle to come down for dinner, and he still is like that. He still says that he wants her to have a good time at a castle, and he still gets angry at her whenever she touches the enchanted rose. Only in this version, the enchanted rose dies when she touches it, because she is the enchantress's daughter, and like, she can't touch it. It's some sort of like an extra part to the curse, which is intriguing. And I thought it was interesting that the reason the enchantress puts the spell, or the curse, on the Beast is because of the fact that his mum and dad, the king and queen, refuse to help the Les Charmantes, because there's a whole rebellion going on against them, and a revolution between the normal human folk and the enchanted, and it's the whole meaning of the novel is equality, and how everyone should be treated equally, which is something I really strongly believe in. I'm all about being treated equal, gender, race, sexuality, no matter what it is. I have always thought that equality is the key, so I like this book because of that. I think it's just a brilliant way to do it, and the fact that Belle is an independent woman in this book, she doesn't need the Beast to help, to like protect her. She is strong enough to do things on her own, but she asks for his help because she likes him, and she knows that he needs her help as well, and if they help each other, they can get to where they both want to be. And I think that's a nice twist on the story, instead of just having them fall in love. Granted, they do fall in love, but it's not as prominent in the storyline as you'd think. It's not as important. And I think that is a good thing to have in a story, especially like these ones, like twisted tales on like Disney. You need to have something original, and I think that's why this book succeeds, because it's completely original, but at the same time it's completely unoriginal in the way that it's the same story, the basis of the story and the sayings that both characters say, but there's a whole other chunk added in that just works really well. I love the fact that at the very end, the Beast sacrifices his own humanity for his servants. It shows that the Beast is now in the mind of a man. He has the control over his form rather than the curse. Instead of him turning back into a human along with the others, he has sacrificed that right for other people, because he knows that they have helped him, even though his family is the reason that they are like that. And that's another nice message, to help others before yourself, and to be that kind of a person, to be able to do that. I think that's a lovely message as well. Overall, I think this novel is unbelievable. I urge people to read this. Even though I've literally just spoiled the majority of it, read it anyways, because it is so well written. It is a lovely story. And I don't think it matters what age you are when you read this because of the moral behind it. I think you can read this at any age, and believe me, the characters are still the same. Gaston is still a pig-headed, arrogant man who wants Belle to marry him. The Beast is still a beast of a person, both in character and in form. And Belle is still a strong-willed, independent woman, just in a slightly different way. So I think you can read it at whatever age you are. You can read it to your children, if anyone watches this who has children. I think it's suitable for all ages. It does say it is a young adult novel on many sites, especially on the Disney site, the Disney website for this book, this series. But I personally think it's suitable for all ages. There's nothing too violent, I should say. Anyways, if you didn't enjoy my rant and review on this book, please give it a thumbs up and comment if you have any other requests for a book that you want me to read. I'm always looking for good books to read, always. So if you have any recommendations, please leave them down in the comments below. Any good Disney ones preferably as well. But I'm up to read anything. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like me to do in the future video wise, please leave a comment down below as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!